My name is Elliot, and if you're hearing this now, it's because I decided to tell everything, every detail, every wrong choice, every moment I thought there was no way out. I'm 17 years old, and for as long as I can remember, life has been a battlefield. I grew up in the shadows of tall buildings and cold hearts. My brother Noah is all I have left. He's 11 and thinks I'm some kind of superhero. But the truth, I'm just a kid trying to keep us alive. Sleeping in subway stations, digging through trash for food, and running from trouble until that day, the day we found the bag, just an old, beat-up bag lying on the ground, forgotten between two dumpsters behind a restaurant. But inside was the kind of thing that flips your life upside down. Money, a lot of it, documents, names, and a letter that read like a confession, or maybe a threat. I wanted to walk away, pretend we never saw it, but Noah's eyes stopped me. In that moment, I knew that whatever we did next wouldn't just change our lives, it could change a lot more than that. If you're into raw, intense stories filled with tough choices and conflicted hearts, hit that subscribe button, because I need to tell you everything, not just for what I've lived through, but for those still living it now. We woke up to the metallic clank of a baton hitting the train tracks. It was always like that. The abandoned station that served as our shelter on cold nights turned hostile again the moment the sun threatened to rise. The security guard was new, but the contempt in his eyes was the same. "Up, now! This isn't a place for street kids," he shouted, spitting the words like stones. I scrambled, pulling the filthy blanket off Noah and wrapping my arms around him. He was shaking. "We're going, sir," I mumbled, my voice hoarse from sleep and cold. Noah rubbed his eyes, still lost in a dream. "But I was dreaming about Mom, Elliot. She was smiling," he whispered, as if trying to hold on to the dream. My chest tightened. I leaned close and whispered, "Let's go, champ. We'll find somewhere better today, I promise." We wandered with no direction, down wet alleys that stank of old trash and urine. The day began grey, with a thin mist coating the buildings, making everything feel like a sad movie. We passed 3 dumpsters before finding one where the trash still looked fresh. I pulled out a half-eaten box of nuggets and a sealed ketchup packet. I sat on the curb and handed it to Noah. "Eat slowly, this tastes like victory." He laughed with a mouth full of food. "So victory tastes kinda mushy and cold?" His laughter gave me strength. Sometimes that was all I needed to keep breathing. We turned into a narrow alley between a Mexican restaurant and a junkyard, trying to get out of the drizzle that had started to fall. Noah tripped over something. A hollow thump echoed as leather hit the wet ground. "What's that?" he asked, crouching down curiously. "A bag, dark leather, torn on the side, broken clasp, but heavy. Leave it. Might belong to someone dangerous," I said quickly, grabbing his arm. But Noah was already staring at it with wide eyes. "What if there's food inside, or toys?" I sighed. Toys hadn't been part of our lives in a long time. I knelt beside him and carefully opened the bag. First, the smell, old leather mixed with women's perfume. Fancy, sweet, expensive. Then we saw what made us freeze. $100 bills, bundled with rubber bands, over 10 stacks, enough to change everything. Noah's eyes went wide. "Elliot, is this ours now?" "Shh," I whispered, looking around. The street was empty, but a window creaked slightly on the 3rd floor. I held a finger to my lips and kept checking the contents. There were documents, lots of them, all in the same name, Isabel Carter, an ID, a company badge, a plane boarding pass, and finally a crumpled envelope, sealed with tape and scribbled handwriting. "If anything happens to me, know it was because of them. They found me." "Who are they?" Noah whispered. "I don't know," but she was scared. My hands began to sweat despite the cold. This wasn't money someone accidentally lost. This was a warning, a cry for help, or maybe a sign that help was too late. "What do we do now?" he asked, eyes wide with fear. I didn't have a clear answer. Part of me wanted to drop it and pretend we'd never touched it, but the other part, the part that saw Noah sleep on concrete night after night, that part screamed louder. We're taking it, but carefully. Don't tell anyone. This stays between us, okay? I said firmly. He nodded, and then we heard it. A car screeching around the corner, tires squealing, someone shouting far away, and a shadow moving too quickly between the alleys. I grabbed the bag, took Noah's hand, and ran. My feet slipped on the wet pavement. My heart pounded wildly. I could feel it. Someone was watching us. Who was that woman? Why would she leave this here? Noah asked as we ran. I don't know, but I have a feeling we've just gotten into something really, really big. And in that moment I knew this would be the day everything changed, just not in the way we expected. We got back to our hideout with our hearts pounding like war drums. It was an old abandoned laundromat tucked between two buildings no one looked at anymore. Inside, it smelled like mold, old soap, and abandonment. But to us, it was the safest place we knew. I shut the rusty door with a shove as Noah collapsed onto the pile of cloth we used as a mattress. Do you think they were following us? He asked, his voice shaking. He peeked through the cracked window like he was expecting someone to appear at any second. I stood still, listening. The city sounded the same. Distant sirens, car horns, the wheezing engine of a bus 2 streets over. But my body knew better. Someone was out there, watching. I don't know, Noah, but we're staying here for now. Nobody knows about this place but us. I opened the bag again. The money was still there. So were the documents. I pulled out the envelope and looked inside more carefully. There was a folded page, typed in a small cold font. A report, a list of names, companies, stolen funds. At the bottom, initials. I.C. She was going to give this to someone, I muttered, but she never made it. You think she's dead? Noah whispered, eyes wide, voice nearly choked. I swallowed hard. Maybe. Or maybe she's hiding, running from dangerous people. I slid the paper back into the envelope and hid the bag under a loose floorboard. We spent the whole day locked in there. Noah tried to play with bottle caps, but he couldn't stop fidgeting. And me? I was scared. Scared we'd taken something way too big, something that wasn't ours. As the sun began to set, he looked at me and asked, "What if we took it to the police?" I laughed, bitterly. "And you trust them? 'Cause I don't. What if one of them is part of all this? We could disappear too. But what if someone needs this? What if Isabel's still alive?" Those words stuck with me. Isabel Carter. Who was she? Why would she leave all that money and a file like that in a trash bag? That night we heard footsteps outside, 2 muffled voices talking, but we couldn't make out the words. Something metallic got kicked nearby and we froze. Noah curled against me and I gently covered his mouth. Shh. Stay quiet. Wait till they leave. The footsteps eventually faded. Silence returned. But it wasn't peaceful silence. It was the kind that comes after fear. Heavy. Loud in all the ways silence shouldn't be. That night before he fell asleep, Noah asked, "What if this is a test? Like something fate put in our path?" It took me a while to answer. And when I did, my voice was barely a whisper. "Then so be it. But fate better be ready, because I'm going to protect you, no matter what it costs." In the darkness of that abandoned place, with the city humming in the distance, only one thought kept running through my mind. What do we do with the truth when it falls into the hands of 2 kids with nothing left to lose? I woke up before sunrise, suffocating with the feeling that something was off. Noah was still asleep, curled up like a kitten, hugging our only real blanket. The silence in the warehouse was thick, so heavy it felt like even the air was holding its breath. I got up slowly, careful not to make a sound, and walked over to the loose floorboard where I'd hidden the bag. It was still there, untouched, but something inside me told me that wouldn't last. I took out Isabel's envelope again and looked through the list of names more carefully this time. Some seemed familiar, then one in particular jumped out at me. Senator Charles G. Wyman. I'd heard that name before on an old news broadcast playing in a store window. The guy smiled too much. A politician, the kind that says he cares about the people. That was him. Isabel must have worked for him. or against him. On the back of the envelope I found a small card, a handwritten phone number, and on the reverse side just one word, Sophie. My head was spinning. It was too much, too heavy, but something told me that card was the key. I waited for Noah to wake up. I made him a quick breakfast. Old powdered milk with warm water from a faucet in the alley. When I handed him the cup, he looked at me suspiciously. "You're going out, aren't you?" I nodded. "I need to do something. You stay here. Lock the door from the inside. If you hear footsteps, hide. You know where." He hugged me tightly. "Don't be long, Elliot. I get scared without you." "I'll be back. I always come back." I went to a cyber cafe downtown, one of those that open early for people betting on games or looking for jobs. I walked in. The guy at the counter barely looked up, just nodded. I picked the computer in the corner, the one no one could see the screen of, and started searching. Isabel Carter, missing. The first result made my blood run cold. Woman missing after accusing government officials of corruption. Last seen, LAX airport 5 days ago. Her photo was there, the woman from the ID, green eyes, afraid expression. I read everything in silence. Isabel was an investigative journalist. She was compiling a report about a criminal ring tied to the government. Senator Wyman's name came up in nearly every paragraph. She was going to deliver her findings to the press, but disappeared before she could board her flight. My throat tightened. That bag wasn't just a discarded secret. It was evidence of a crime, and now it was in our hands. I looked at the card again. I picked up the public phone in the cafe and dialed the number with trembling fingers. It rang once, twice, 3 times. "Hello?" A woman's voice. Young, tense. "Hi, my name is Elliot. I found a bag with the name Isabel Carter. There was a card with your name on it." Silence on the other end. "You need to come with me right now," she said. Her voice sharpened. "Where are you? Are you alone?" I looked around. The guy at the counter wasn't paying attention. "I'm not alone, and I don't trust anyone. I just want to know, is she alive?" More silence. Then a whisper. "If you have that bag, then Isabel might be dead, or worse." Before I could say anything else, the line went dead. Static. Then silence. I felt ice in my veins. I ran back to the hideout. Every shadow looked like a figure, every car like a threat. I got to the door, knocked 3 times, our code, and Noah opened it. "Did you talk to someone?" he asked. I nodded, still catching my breath. "And? There's more to this than we thought. And maybe someone's already on their way to find us." The rain was falling softly when we heard the first sound. Not just any sound, the kind that tears silence apart. Tires screeching on wet asphalt, car doors slamming shut, and footsteps, firm, purposeful, like they knew exactly where they were going. Noah shrank by the broken window. "Elliot, is it them?" I didn't need to answer. My whole body was on high alert, every nerve screaming. I peeked through a gap in the wooden boards. A black car, tinted windows, parked at the corner. 2 men in suits walking slowly down the sidewalk, scanning everything around them like predators on the hunt. "Don't make a sound," I whispered. "Go to the back, hide behind the old machine. Don't come out." "But what about you?" "I'll distract them. If anything happens, take the bag and run to the subway, red line toward Union Station. Hide there until I find you." He wanted to argue, but he knew it wouldn't help. He obeyed. I put the bag back under the floorboard and closed it carefully, then tossed a dirty blanket over the spot. I heard the doorknob creak. Knock, knock. "Anyone in there?" The voice was cold, male, emotionless. I didn't respond. Knock, harder now. "We just want to talk," said the other one, fake friendliness in his tone. "We know you found something important. It doesn't have to go this way." "Go away," I whispered to myself. "Just go away." Then silence. For a second, I thought they'd left. But no. A window shattered on the far side of the building. They were trying to break in through the back. I ran over and shoved a broken-down washing machine in front of the entrance. It was heavy and way too loud. Then, I heard the shout. "Over here! He's inside!" Panic hit me like a tidal wave. I grabbed a rusty iron bar and took a deep breath. I was going to fight. I was going to resist. But just then, something changed. A third car screeched to a stop across the street, and from it stepped a woman, brown hair in a bun, grey coat, a phone in her hand, and the look of someone who'd seen hell and survived. She shouted, "Elliot, are you Elliot?" I froze. It was her, the voice from the call. "Sophie?" I asked, opening the door slightly. She ran to me. "Get out now, they can't catch you, I found you first." "But my brother, we'll get him, right now." We ran back inside. Noah was trembling, but when he saw the woman, he clung to my arm. "Who is she?" he asked. "Our only shot at making it out alive." Sophie looked me straight in the eye. "They know who you are now. They know your name. They know where you sleep. From here on out, we either run or we die." We raced through the night like the pavement behind us was on fire. Sophie drove an old car, beaten up but fast, hands steady, eyes scanning every intersection. Noah sat curled up in the back seat, still breathing hard. I kept turning around, expecting headlights to chase us. But so far, nothing. "Where are we going?" I asked, my heart still pounding to the rhythm of distant sirens. "Somewhere safe, outside the city. It's not permanent, but it'll give us time to figure things out." "You knew Isabel?" I asked straight. I needed answers. Sophie took a deep breath. Her eyes shimmered, but she didn't cry. "She was my sister." Those words sliced through the air like a blade. "She sent me a message with her location before she vanished. When you called, I knew it was about her, and that it was serious. You have no idea what she uncovered." "Is she alive?" Noah asked quietly, breaking the heavy silence. Sophie hesitated. She looked into the rearview mirror, locking eyes with the boy. "I don't know, but if she is, we're going to find her." We arrived at an old cabin tucked in the woods near Pasadena. It looked like it was built in the 50s and never touched since. But it was hidden, isolated, exactly what we needed. Inside, the floor creaked and everything smelled like wood and cold ashes. Sophie lit a few candles, locked the door, and armed a small security system. "Now we can talk." We sat around a heavy wooden table. The bag lay between us. I placed it there like a ticking time bomb. "What exactly did Isabel discover?" I asked. Sophie pulled a laptop from her backpack and plugged in an external hard drive. "She was investigating a money laundering scheme involving 3 shell companies and some very powerful politicians, including Senator Wyman, but it went even deeper. Influence trafficking, blackmail, staged murders." "Murders?" I echoed, my throat tightening. "Yes, Isabel was just about to hand everything to a reporter, but someone found out, and she disappeared." "Then why was the bag in the trash?" Noah asked, confused. "She must have been followed. Maybe she ditched it to throw them off. Maybe she knew someone like you would find it, someone innocent, unexpected, someone who could keep it hidden long enough." I looked at Sophie, my eyes burning. "And now, what do we do?" She opened a few files on the laptop. Documents, videos, recordings, all real, all damning. We leak it, but carefully. We expose everything at the right time. "And until then?" Noah asked, still scared. "Until then, you stay with me. Here, we're off their radar, at least for now." We fell silent for a while. The wind knocked against the windows, but inside me something shifted. For the first time, it wasn't just fear. It was purpose. I looked at Noah. He looked back, and in that look was a silent promise. We were going to fight, not just for us, but for Isabel, for the truth, for a future. The days at the cabin drifted somewhere between fear and hope. Outside, birds chirped like nothing had happened. But inside, we knew. We were living in the quiet space between 2 storms. One before the fall, and one even heavier still to come. Sophie spent hours digging through Isabel's files, recorded calls, security footage, email threads. With every click, her face hardened. This isn't just a report. It's a map of the rot that keeps this country running. Do you trust anyone? I asked one night as she sat by the fireplace reviewing documents. She looked at me, exhausted. I used to. Almost died because of it. Now, I trust myself, and maybe you too. Noah sat beside her playing with an old board game we found in the cabin. Sometimes he smiled for a few seconds, but then his eyes always went back to the same alert, too-grown look. He was only 11, but he'd seen too much. On the third night, something strange happened. I was sleeping when I heard a sound from the guest room. A voice, faint but unmistakably female. I got up quietly, my bare feet cold on the wooden floor. I walked to the door. It was Sophie's laptop. The screen was glowing, and from the speaker an audio clip played, a recording, a woman's voice. If I disappear, don't stop. The truth must be told. They can't erase everything. Someone has to finish what I started. It was Isabel. Sophie rushed in out of breath. Did you trigger this? No, I heard it from the hallway. She stared at the laptop, stunned. This file wasn't here before. Then where did it come from? She didn't answer. But in the corner of the screen, a notification blinked. New message received. Temporary tracker active. Someone just sent this, I whispered. Right now. Noah appeared in the doorway, eyes wide. Is it her? Sophie looked at me and whispered, breathless, if it is, then she's alive and trying to find us. The next morning, I made a decision. I'm going to check out Isabel's last known location, the airport. I need to see it with my own eyes. It's dangerous, Sophie warned. More dangerous is waiting around doing nothing, she sighed. Fine, but I'm coming with you. We left Noah at the cabin, hidden with clear instructions. Then we hit the road. At the old airport terminal's parking lot, something made me stop. There were flowers, left beside a rusted metal sign, a makeshift memorial. Sophie stepped out of the car, knelt by the flowers, and picked up a crumpled paper weighted down by a rock. 4 words written on it. I'm alive. Follow me. I looked at Sophie. She looked at me. The message was clear. Isabel wasn't dead, but getting to her would be far more dangerous than we ever imagined. The road to the address from the message was long, winding through hills and forest. Sophie kept her eyes on the rearview mirror, like every bend could be an ambush. I stared at the crumpled note in my hands, as if it might whisper something more. 4 words, but from the one person who could change everything. She could be hurt, or being forced to send this, Sophie muttered, breaking the silence. This could be a trap, or it could be the only chance we have to save her. We reached the place just before sunset, an old mansion, hidden among trees, its facade worn by time. The windows were covered with newspaper from the inside. The iron gate was slightly open. We stepped out of the car, senses sharp. If she's here, we'll find out, Sophie said, pulling a small flashlight from her backpack. But if someone else is, we run. I pushed the gate. It creaked loudly like it was screaming we were here. We walked through a forgotten garden, dead flowers and dry leaves crunching underfoot. At the door, I tried the knob. Locked. Sophie looked around and pointed to a low window, slightly open. Through here. We climbed in carefully. The air was thick. Dust, old books, time standing still. It felt like a mix between an abandoned library and a secret hideout. Paintings were turned to face the wall. A half-full water bottle sat on a table. Neatly folded clothes rested on an old sofa. She was here, I whispered. On the mantel, a photo. Isabel and Sophie, younger, smiling. The frame was face down, as if someone left in a rush. Sophie picked it up and hugged it to her chest. My God, she made it this far. She fought alone. Then we heard it. A creak upstairs. A footstep. Slow. Careful. I climbed the stairs silently, each step squeaking like a warning. At the end of the hallway, 3 doors. The farthest one was slightly open, a soft light glowing from inside. Sophie, I whispered. She was right behind me. I pushed the door gently. Inside, a spinning desk chair was still rocking, like someone had just stood up. A steaming cup of tea sat on the desk, and on the table, a printed sheet of paper. I picked it up. Big letters, a list of names, the same dossier Isabel had created. But now, with one new name circled in red, Sophie Carter. I looked at her confused. She went pale. This doesn't make sense. Why is my name here? I'm not part of this. But Isabel thought you were. Sophie took a step back. Elliot, no. This is a setup. They're trying to turn you against me. I would never betray her, or you. But the doubt, it was there now, planted and growing fast. Suddenly, the sound of glass shattering downstairs. Someone had just entered the house. Sophie and I locked eyes, hearts racing. If we don't get out now, it might be too late. We crept down the stairs in silence, every step deliberate, eyes straining through the dark. The sound of the shattered glass still echoed in the house, followed by heavy, urgent footsteps. Someone was inside, and it wasn't Isabel. Sophie grabbed my arm, eyes wide. Side door, now! But something in me hesitated. My heart told me to run, but my mind, it was stuck on that paper. Her name circled in red. Sophie, if Isabel thought you betrayed her, why? She turned tense. I don't know, she got paranoid near the end. Said she'd discovered something bigger, something not even I could know. If she hid it from me, maybe it was to protect me, or maybe she didn't trust anyone anymore. You're hiding something from me. She was silent. 1 second, 2. I knew parts of the scheme. I overheard things, saw documents, but I didn't tell her. I was scared, and now maybe she thought I was part of it. The truth hurt more than if it had been a lie. She wasn't guilty, but she had been silent, and because of that silence, Isabel might be dead or lost forever. A door slammed open on the ground floor. We had no more time. We ran through the back, darting into a narrow path lined with trees, leading toward the road. The car was about 200 meters away, but in the distance, we saw headlights. Another vehicle was approaching. Sophie pulled a spare key from her coat. Go. You drive, I'll cover you. You trust me with your life? I asked, hands shaking. She gave a bitter smile. More than I've trusted myself. We stumbled into the car. I started the engine. Sophie stood outside, signaling the path ahead. But as I turned on the headlights to illuminate the trail, a figure appeared, hooded, thin, unsteady steps. I jumped out of the car. Sophie shouted, Elliot, no! I moved forward cautiously, and as the figure turned toward me, my knees nearly gave out. It was her, Isabel. Emaciated, hollow eyes, face marked by exhaustion, but alive. Sophie, she whispered, stumbling. Sophie ran to her and caught her in her arms. Oh my God, Isabel, you're alive, she sobbed, weak. I saw you. I waited for you to come. I couldn't trust anyone. But now I think I have a chance. She looked at me, her eyes locking onto mine. You're Elliot? I nodded. You changed everything. You saved my life. But before she could say anything else, 3 gunshots cracked through the trees. One struck the side of the car. They found us. Now it's run or fight. Bullets ricocheted off the side of the car as we sped down the narrow road. Tall grass scraped against the doors, but no one cared. Sophie drove with a mix of fear and fury, jaw clenched, hands shaking on the wheel. In the back seat, Isabel was gasping, clutching her side. She was hurt. Blood stained her white shirt. She needs a hospital, I yelled. We can't. If she checks into any ER, they'll find her. And this time, they'll finish the job, Sophie said, eyes locked on the road. I looked back at Isabel. She tried to smile even through the pain. I knew you'd come, Sophie. Even after everything. Sophie glanced at her in the mirror, swallowing hard. You should have told me. You should have trusted me. I couldn't. If you knew, they would have killed you too. But you almost died alone. Silence. The kind that says more than 100 apologies ever could. We reached an old barn, abandoned, hidden deep in the countryside. Sophie had stashed supplies there. And one thing more important than anything, a computer, unplugged from the world, safe. Inside, under the faint beam of a flashlight, Isabel's pale face lit up as she handed me something small, a tiny drive stitched into the lining of the bag. This is it. Everything. Videos, bank records, an audio recording of Senator Wyman confessing. You want me to release it? I asked. I want you to choose. If you upload this, they'll come after you, all of you, but the world will know. If you don't, you and Noah could disappear, start over, live free, because now you hold the power, you have what they want, and that could buy your safety. I froze. For the first time, I felt the full weight of what we carried. This wasn't just about justice. It was survival. It was choosing between truth and my brother. I can't let Noah grow up thinking everything's a lie, I whispered. Sophie placed her hand on my shoulder. You're not just a street kid, Elliot. You're someone who can change everything. But the choice is yours. Right now. I looked at the laptop, the drive in my hand, and then I heard it, a high-pitched beep, repeating, fast, rhythmic. I turned to Sophie. She recognized it instantly. A drone. They've found us again. We've got minutes, I said, panicked. She ran to the computer. Plug it in, now. I inserted the drive. The screen lit up. Do you want to send these files? Yes. A progress bar appeared. 22%, 38%. The barn door shook. Noah peeked out from the rafters, terrified. Elliot! Almost there, I muttered. 62%. Footsteps. Close. Isabel sat up, struggling. Take the drive and go. I'll hold them off. You can't, I shouted. This is my story. But you're the future. 93%. So close. The door burst open with a deafening crash. And I did the only thing I could. I hit enter, upload complete. The truth was out, but the price was still to come. The laptop flashed one final time. Upload complete. The confirmation beep echoed like a silent explosion in all of us. The truth was out. There was no turning back. Outside, footsteps multiplied, shouts. They were armed, ready to silence the last breath of justice. But we had already won, even if we didn't yet know the cost. Isabel, pale and weak, stepped between the door and us. I'll draw them away. You run through the side stable. There's an exit behind the stalls. Sophie, get her out of here, I begged, my voice breaking. But Isabel looked me in the eye. This fight is mine, Elliot, and now that you've released it, I can face it with my head held high. It doesn't have to be like this. It does. Sometimes the truth is expensive, but lies cost even more. She kissed Sophie's forehead in farewell. You've always been my light, even when I got lost. Sophie was crying but nodded. I love you. Isabel flung the door open, yelling, footsteps, gunshots. But she kept walking, alone, strong. We ran the opposite way, through fog and forgotten fields, vaulting fences. Gunfire echoed behind us, but every second mattered. Hours later, in a small rural guest house owned by an old journalist friend of Sophie's, we turned on the TV. The news was exploding. Historic leak reveals massive corruption network involving high-ranking officials. Senator Charles Wyman, among those named, has already resigned. The anonymous whistleblower provided evidence of money laundering, silencing campaigns, and political fraud. Isabel's photo filled the screen, an old portrait, smiling. Noah pointed. She did it, Elliot. We did it. I looked at him, my eyes filled with tears. She showed us that even the smallest people can bring down giants. A few days later, we received a letter. No name, but I knew who it was from. I'm alive, on the run but free. Thank you for not giving up on me. The truth is in the right hands now. Stay safe. Take care of each other. I took a deep breath. Noah and I had started as street kids, lost, forgotten. But now we were something else. Witnesses of the truth, keepers of memory, survivors. My name is Elliot, and now that it's all over, I can finally breathe. But I'll never be the same. I was 17 when I found that bag behind a restaurant. At the time, I thought it was luck. Later, I believed it was a curse. But today, I know. It was a calling, a test, a chance to prove that even someone born on the margins can become the center of change. Yes, I lost my innocence, but I gained something bigger, purpose. Isabel survived, but became a shadow, living free. Her courage echoes in everything we do. Sophie found redemption, and Noah, oh, my brother, he's the proof that love can survive anything. Today he goes to school. He has a warm bed, food, books, dreams, and he knows the truth matters. We live with little, but we have everything. Sometimes I still dream of that cold alley with the sounds of the city trying to swallow us, but I wake up with sunlight on my face and the certainty that the truth won, even if it hurt, even if it left scars. If you've stayed with me this far, thank you, truly, because stories like ours deserve to be told, and they only exist because people like you choose to listen. Leave your comment below. Tell me what you would have done. Share this story with someone you love, and subscribe to the channel so we can keep bringing truth, pain, and hope, one story at a time, because life is exactly that, an unpredictable script where even the small ones can be heroes. See you next time.